morning. Now, I am not a public speaker at all, so I am nervous. I am shaking. I am hot. It's 1,000 degrees in here. So just pray for me and bear with me. If I lose it, just bear with me. Okay, so I was writing some notes last night. I told Jordan that I was going to jot some notes down and about my testimony this morning. It became 4.5 pages. So we may be here for a while, so I hope you're not hungry. But anyways, Kira was asking me what I was doing, and I said, I'm writing some notes for my testimony. And she said, well, Mom, I thought testimonies were like from people that have been in jail or that have done some really bad things and have came from that. I've not been in jail. I've not really done any bad things that the world would say. But this is a story about something that has happened to me. Not really something, but some feelings and a struggle that I've had as a Christian. Testimonies are not just about the day you got saved or where you came from. It's about our everyday life. And us as Christians, we struggle just as much as anybody else. And we shouldn't be afraid to get up here in front of how many ever people are here and tell everyone, but I am. But that's okay. So testimonies can also be about a miracle. If you all, any of you that were here when we were in the Beaver Dam grade school, I did share a testimony about a miracle that happened in my life. Our little daughter, JC, is a miracle, and I'll tell you that later, or Jordan actually tells that story better. But it's not about a miracle. It's just about a struggle. So about 6 months ago, it actually had been going on a couple years, maybe longer than that. But 6 months ago is when I realized that I wasn't happy. I just wasn't happy. I was mean and bitter. I complained a lot, even though Brenda would say, stop complaining. She would say, just go on. But the human in me, I complained a lot. I was a mean wife. I yelled at my children. And I know some of you that knew me before knew that that wasn't me and that something was going on. I didn't know it, but I was mean to you all. I was a mean friend, wife. I can't go on enough about how I was a horrible wife. But, sorry. My husband loves me like Jesus does. And let me tell you something, ladies, if you don't realize it, you're missing out, because a husband is supposed to love you like Jesus does. I was horrible to him. I can't say that enough. He could have left 10 times, and he didn't. He was miserable. He says he wasn't, but he was. I knew he was. He told me that when he said his vows, he meant for better, for worse. And boy, was he right. This was the worst time in my life, the worst I've ever felt. And I don't really even remember the conversation, or I don't remember the day that it was that I broke down, but it was sometime in August. I remember exactly where I was. Before that, let's back up a little bit. Before that, I had realized that I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at work. I wasn't happy at home. I wasn't even happy here. This church is wonderful, but I just was not happy. I still came, of course, but I came for the wrong reasons. I'm a pastor's wife, preacher's wife. I'm not the senior pastor's wife, but Jordan is a pastor of this church, and I wasn't supposed to have these feelings. You're just not supposed to be like that when you're a pastor's wife. I know you all can sit there and think, well, you're human too, but face it, the world puts us way up here, and when I'm way down here, that's not a short joke, but you get what I'm saying. But and I used to be the same way before I became a preacher's wife. I never really looked at them the same as anyone else. I held Brenda way up here, and I realized that she's human and she fails, but she doesn't show it, and she does let God run through her, and I strive, and I just wanted something more. I want it to be that person, that woman that each of you all could come to as a woman that you couldn't come to your pastor or your assistant pastor, or I just wanted to be a friend. And I couldn't be that person if I wasn't happy inside. I talked to a couple people about it. I realized that, I wasn't happy. And there, not really an incident, but just some feelings that, and I don't know how Jordan's going to feel about this, but about, Jordan, he always loved me. He always told me that he loved me. But then for a little bit, he started paying attention to some other people more than he did me. And that kind of hurt me, and I began to get jealous. And it wasn't him. It wasn't the other person or the other people. It was me. And I realized it. Why wouldn't he want to talk to somebody that didn't bite his head off? Why wouldn't he want to talk to somebody that didn't complain to him all the time? Just a normal conversation. He couldn't have that with me. So I just began, that was the moment that I began to realize that, you know what? I'm not happy. It's not everybody else's fault. It is my fault. I went to the altar several times, and I thought, the altar is supposed to fix everything. You're supposed to feel better when you get up. I didn't. I went there several times. I would feel better maybe for a week, and then somebody would say something that I didn't like, and boom, I'd bite their head off. So, and for those of you that didn't know me before Life Point, or when Life Point started, you didn't know any different. I was just a mean old short girl, and I was. I mean, you can laugh about it, but the reality, that was me. I wasn't the Tommie Lynn, the spunky, happy-go-lucky girl that I used to be. I wasn't, and you all can, say that, no. The reality, I was not. I was horrible, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm ashamed of how I let myself go, but I'm not ashamed of the situation because it brought me to where I am today. If it wasn't for the feelings that I had or the bitterness that I had, I don't think I could be the person that I am today. And, we were talking about, me and Christy earlier, I didn't plan on saying this part, but we were talking about, sharing our testimony and about how God uses some strange things to get to your attention. He didn't have to use drugs or alcohol or, anything like that for me, but it's the same thing. Not being happy and not doing what you're supposed to do is just a sin just as much as if I went and killed someone. I strongly believe that. But just as, a couple weeks went on, and that August day, like I said, I don't remember the exact time, but it was a Sunday afternoon, so it was still, felt good outside, and me and Jordan started to argue. I don't really even know exactly what it was about. It was something like I shouldn't have to ask him to help pick up the trash, or, he shouldn't walk over a thing of clothes. He should know to pick it up. And he would tell me, no, that's not, how I'm built. That's not how I'm wired. You're going to have to tell me. Well, in my eyes, I was like, man, the amount of time that it takes me to tell you to pick up your own clothes, I could already pick it up. And, but that's just how we're different. And so I don't remember exactly what was said, but it was something like that. But he instead of, and this is always him, instead of arguing, he just stormed outside and went and sit on the swing. I wasn't done yet, so I followed him. And definitely, I always had to get the last word in. He's over there shaking his head. Yep, have to get the last word in. But and so I just went out there and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I do remember him saying, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, why does everybody keep asking me what is wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with me. Everybody had asked me, what's wrong with you? You look like you're stressed. And and that had been going on for 2 years. People keep asking me, what in the world is wrong with you? There is nothing wrong with me. Why do you keep asking? Yes, I'm fine. Just leave me alone. I was short-tempered. And finally, I just started bawling. And I said, I have no idea, Jordan. No idea whatsoever. There's something wrong, but I don't know what's wrong. I'm not happy. Sometimes I feel like the world would be better without me in it. No, I never had suicidal thoughts at all. That's not at all. But I just felt like I didn't want to do anything. If I had stayed in my house, I would be okay. Nobody, would need to have fun with me. They would have much more fun without me because I was not the life of the party. I ruined the party. So nobody really wanted to be around me, and I was okay with that. And I just sat in his arms, just cried, sat in his arms, and he held me, listened, didn't really say a word, just listened to me. And then when it was his turn to talk, because I pretty much didn't let him talk at that point, I just kept pouring my heart out, and I don't think I said anything that's on here, but that's okay. He just said, "It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." And for the first time, I believed it. That song, I believe. And then it was so amazing. Elizabeth came to me this morning and said, "I'm going to sing a special. Is there anything that, you think that would help?" And just like that, I am. Is that what it's called? You say. I don't know. I said I am. But I thought that I wasn't good enough. I had thoughts in my head that I wasn't pretty enough for Jordan. I wasn't skinny enough. I wasn't a good enough person. I wasn't a good enough friend. I wasn't a good enough wife, mother, teacher. And so that song really, really, really is, I could leave it at that and then not say anything, and that would be my testimony. So thank you, Elizabeth. But back to that night, I just let it all go. And I said, I shouldn't feel like this. I should be able to let it go. But I can't let it go alone. I just can't do it. And yes, God is wonderful, and he has helped me in so many ways. But what I learned through all of this is God, yes, he can take it all away. But he is not here with us. So, he's in our hearts, but he cannot physically reach down and, just take it. He can, but he uses others to help us. He can't physically stand beside me, and you all see him stand beside me. So therefore, he has doctors, he has friends, he has mentors, and that's how God helps you, or helps me, is by using, other people. Yes, I can talk to him, and I don't want to tell you wrong that God cannot take something, but what I'm trying to say is use your resources around you. Don't be afraid to admit you have a problem. I had a problem, and I'm a pastor's wife. It's okay. We're human just like you are, but all my life I had, they don't have any problems. They don't have any struggles. Jordan's dad is a preacher, and Jordan's mom is a pastor's wife, and until I really, got to know them at first, I thought that their life was perfect. They get up in the pulpit every Sunday and preach to you, and most of the time they're preaching to themselves, and I didn't realize that until, until Jordan got caught in the ministry. And so the main thing that I learned was, one, I have a wonderful husband, and our marriage has never been rocky or horrible, and we've never really had any arguments other than the stupid ones about me wanting him to clean, but that's every husband and wife, but I didn't realize that, except you two, Rodney and Billy, good job, the cleaners, but I didn't realize that we had, our marriage was going south or whatever until, this happened, until I realized that I wasn't happy. And if I'm not happy, then nobody in the family is going to be happy, because one person can bring the attitude and, the atmosphere down, and that is no way to live. I remember telling Jordan that I got up every morning. I had to watch what I would say before I would say it, because I was afraid that I was going to hurt somebody's feelings, and I did plenty of times. Believe me, they let me know it. And I just couldn't live like that anymore. I didn't want to really get up and start my life because something was going to go wrong. I just knew it. Something at work, something here, something, in my family. I was like, well, I'm just going to stay in bed. Of course, you can't do that. You can't make the bills like that. But anyways, I remember him telling me, well, honey, I think it's time to get help. And I was like, no, I got this. No, I don't need that. And then it didn't get any better. And I realized that Tommie does not have anything, nothing at all. Without God and using his resources, none of us have anything. No matter how much you think you are, or no matter what office or what position you play in anywhere, no matter if you're a leader, if you're not a leader, you need time for yourself as well. But and I got help. I'm not ashamed to say that I got the help I needed. And it's amazing, how much I told a couple of, my girlfriends in here what exactly I was going through. And, that helped a little bit. But pouring my heart out to someone that didn't know me before, that didn't know me now, really, I think that helped more than anything. Just getting it out of my, off my chest and just admitting that I had a problem. And I know I keep saying I had a problem, and, I know that I didn't have an addiction or anything like that, but not being happy is a problem. I mean, just embrace it and realize it. But it's been, almost 6 months now, and I can tell you that I wake up with a smile on my face, and I can tell you that when I look at you and I smile, it is real. It's not fake anymore. And I hope that you all can see the difference in me, and that I am the old Tommie Lynn, not the new. I didn't like the new Tommie Lynn. And most people are saying, well, they're happy to be the new them. That wasn't the case. I did not want to be the new me, because the new me, believe it or not, was a not so nice word. So so I just can't say enough that if you have a problem, embrace it. Don't be scared to admit it because of what other people would think. I used to be one that, really worried about what people would thought of me. I don't care anymore. I'm going to live my life. You all are not the judge of me. Only God is the judge of me. And I'm going to live my life for God and for God only. Not for Jordan, not for my kids, not really for myself, but for God. If I live my life for God, then everything else will fall into place. I'm not going to worry about what Kelly does. I'm not going to worry about what Courtney does. I'm not going to worry about what Jordan or Rodney do. I'm going to worry about what I do and my relationship with God. Because if you can live your life and know that your relationship with God is wonderful, then nobody else will judge you. Nobody else should judge you. And if they're judging you, then we need to be praying for them. With that being said, I am the old me. I am the old Tommie Lynn. I am so happy and so full of life and so energetic and so positive. It's amazing how positivity can change your life, how it can change a situation. And, Felicia was talking about it this morning. Her attitude is just don't complain anymore. Just go with the flow. It is what it is. Embrace it. That's life, because life is too short to care. Life is too short to care. So with that being said, I have realized what God wants me to do with my life at this time. For 3 years? Have we been in church for three and a half years? I have been a children's leader. I've taught first and third for the majority of the time. And I love the kids. Your kids are amazing. But God is telling me that it's time to move on to something else. So I just wanted you all to know that as of the 1st, I am no longer a part of the children's ministry. I have stepped down from the children's ministry, and I am going to focus on being the pastor's wife, the assistant pastor's wife that you all need, that God wants me to be, and I'm going to support his ministry, and our ministry, because that's what comes along with it. I've heard Rodney say time and time again that, without Brenda, his ministry would not be anything. And I wasn't happy, and I couldn't be, what he needed. So that's my focus. I don't know where we're going with that yet, but I can't give it 100% if I'm tied down to something else. And I don't mean tied down, that I had to be back with the children. I love them, and I will do anything I can to help them, and I will support them and do anything for them. But at this time, my ministry is definitely with my husband and with God. So, with that being said, I love you all, and I am so, so sorry for anything that I've ever said, any hurt feelings. I know that there's people in here that I've hurt. You can tell me it's okay, but it wasn't. It's okay now, but it wasn't. Sometimes an apology goes a long way, and you just got to admit that you're wrong, and I was very wrong. So I love you all, and I thank you for the prayers for me. And one last thing, Jordan touched on it a little bit, but thank you for the prayers for my grandfather. He is very special to me. I'm kind of like the fourth daughter and the oldest granddaughter. My mom was 15 when she had me, and so, we lived with him, and Kiera doesn't even know this, but I think it was Friday when we went up there. They had put him back in the CCU, and they had given him some potassium. That's what the reason why he was in there before, he had a heart attack, and his potassium got so high, and they got him stable and got him off the vent and put him up to the third floor, just a normal room. He didn't have any IV or anything. And, well, hospitals sometimes don't communicate with each other, and they gave him a double dose of potassium, and it shot up high. He turned blue. So he stopped breathing for a little bit, and they didn't put a vent on because he was a DNR. They put a BiPAP machine on him, and just to get his oxygen level, just to see if that was going to help to keep him comfortable, pretty much. And I went over there to him, and I rubbed his arm and rubbed his face, and he told me bye. And I just broke down, and he told me, he said, "I'm ready. Bye. Take care of your mama." And I was like, whoa. The selfish part of me was not ready for me to let him go. But now, now I am. He's ready. So he thought. And I was ready at that point. And he rubbed my face. And that was he told me not to tell my mom because she couldn't handle it. She would break down, but I was the strong one. Man, was he wrong. But I just thank God that they took him off the BiPAP machine, and he's talking, and I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to come home. And let me tell you something. That would not have been possible if it wasn't for you all. So I thank you. God is with him, and he's not done with him. But like Jordan said, that little letter has made a difference. He told me that every time he got bad, he would get one of them letters in the mail, and miraculously, he would be better. And it's only because of that letter that he got better. That's his exact words. I'd never seen a 67-year-old man cry other than the time that he lost his daughter. He's always been so strong. But he cried like a baby, and it was happy tears. And so I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. So just continue to pray and continue to look inside your heart. And if you're not happy, don't go on. Don't go on, because you're only going to make yourself miserable and people around you miserable. And people are not going to like you. And but I'm happy to say that I am happy, and I am happy to be here. And I'm excited about 2019 and where God's going to lead Jordan and I. So thank you.